Welcome back, Fantasy Fiction Fanatics. It's great to see you again, and I hope you're doing well. Today's class is going to be another character analysis, and this character analysis is going to be on Cersei Lannister. Thank you so much to the subscriber who asked me to do this. I know it's been a little bit since you've asked me, and I'm sorry it took me a little while to get to it, but today we are doing it, and hopefully you enjoy what I talk about with her. And I'd love to hear everybody's opinion on this character, and if you think I forgot anything or missed anything out, please let me know. I'd love to have a discussion with you. Of course, if there's any other character analysis that you'd like me to do on any particular character, I'd love to hear about it so I can go ahead and do analyze maybe, on the characters that you are interested in. So please let me know if you have a character in particular that you'd like me to cover. Just a note before we go ahead and get into today's analysis. This is going to be based on what I've seen in the TV show. I have seen the entire Game of Thrones TV show, even though obviously it is based off the book series. I have not read any of the book series as of yet. It is on my to be read list. I just haven't gotten to it yet. But please keep that in mind when I am doing this analysis. It is just going off what I know based on the TV series. So if there's something different in the books or something that I miss because it's not really shown in the series and it's more of a book-oriented thing, please, of course, bring it up. Let me know. I'd love to have a discussion with you and to see what the differences are between the book and the series. But I am judging this analysis based solely on the TV series since that is all I know to go off of. So hopefully that's okay with you guys. Hopefully you bear with me if I miss out anything in particular. Though I'd love to have a discussion with you about the books and how things are different if that comes up. So let's go ahead and get started digging into this character by starting with the profile. So who exactly is Cersei Lannister? Cersei is a prominent character in the A Song of Fire and Ice book series, as well as the TV series Game of Thrones. And she is the Queen of the Seven Kingdoms. So she is, at least in the TV series, she has made it all the way through to the end of the story. She is not one of the characters that dies early on, so we do get a lot of time with her. And as far as I know in the books, she is still around. We'll see if she is also in it till the end when obviously those books come out and they are able to be read. As for her traits, these are what I came up with for her. She's got several of them. And I feel like compared to a lot of the other characters that I have done analysis on for this channel, she is very, very different and has a very different list of traits than a lot of the ones that I have done analysis on before on this channel. And I really like that it's a little bit of a change to talk about somebody who is pretty different and on the more evil spectrum, I would say. She is not a nice character at all, which we will go ahead and cover right now. First thing that came to my mind when thinking about Cersei Lannister is she is very self-centered. So self-centered. So very, very selfish. She's very manipulative. She's a very hard and cold person. I kind of have that together at the same kind of trait because being hard and being cold is very much a similar attribute. But she's also very resourceful and she is very smart. She is super smart. She's also very, very cunning. Very protective of her kids. So that is a trait that is specifically linked to her kids. Otherwise, she doesn't give a crap. But she does have that protective streak that's very, very ingrained inside her for her kids. She's very secretive, super, super resilient, very, very mean, very demanding, and very prideful. So that is what I came up with in terms of the basic traits that make up of Cersei Lannister. Some of them came very, very easily, like self-centered and manipulative, being smart, cunning, those kind of ones came very easily. And then as I thought about it, it's like, we really dig into her character and into what she's done, and she is very, very resilient. She's a lot of things that would normally put a person down, but she gets right back up and she's like, no, I don't think so. She's very mean just as a general based on what kind of acts that she does. I wouldn't necessarily say that she's mean in the sense of sometimes where people can just be outright say mean things to other people, but her actions and how she treats people is definitely not nice. So in general, she's just a mean person. And obviously very demanding, super prideful, super into herself and selfish. So I'd love to hear if you have anything more to add about her traits, but this is what I came up with when I was really thinking about it, really trying to dive deep into the things that she's done. This is the main list that I have. So, what is her role in the story? I've got two main roles that I thought of when thinking about Cersei Lannister and what she does in this story and how she goes about doing the things that she does. So the first one is that she is a manipulator. And I feel like that's the one that comes off right off the bat, like instantly you can peg her as a manipulator. She manipulates everybody, literally everybody. And even though she's protective of her kids, she manipulates them as well. She is the biggest manipulator, I feel like. Well, I guess it's hard to say that she's the biggest manipulator out of everybody, which is what I was originally going to say. But she's up there, definitely top notch of major manipulator. She manipulates people politically. She manipulates people in her personal life, just for her personal gain and what she wants as a personal level as well as a political level. She manipulates her brother. She manipulates her kids to be where she needs them to be when necessary. She manipulates situations in order to fit what she wants or what she needs. She's super good at manipulating when it comes to power on a power basis. And her whole being, in a sense, is centered around being this master manipulator that can move the chess pieces that she needs on her board, no matter how close they are to her or how distant, and whoever needs to be manipulated is gonna be manipulated. That's where her cunning comes in, is that she's really good at knowing how to get people to do what she wants. Whether they know that she's manipulating them or not, she has that subtle way of just moving them into position. And it doesn't, like I said, it doesn't matter who it is or why. It could be her kids who she loves. It could be her brother who she loves. But other than even them, somebody who she's actually has feelings for and cares about is still gonna follow her plan, and she's gonna get it no matter what anybody else thinks or what anybody else wants. She is gonna get it however possible. And if that means manipulating somebody, then that's what she's gonna do. So very much a master at this craft. I don't really know how you become a master at this craft because I'm not that kind of person, but she did a long time ago. She just figured out people very well. And the second role that she has in this story is being a survivor. So even though she does manipulate people, that doesn't mean everything absolutely goes her way. She does have some moments where she falls. She does have those times where things don't work out quite the way she planned and she may be misjudged exactly how to get there. So she's not perfect. Nobody's perfect. And because of those mistakes, or because she couldn't control certain situations, she had to go through some tough times. She was not getting out of this scot-free. But she pulls through each and every time. She manages to keep surviving and to keep pulling herself up to the top and keeping her level of power. Even through, the whole religious sect where they, cut her hair and make her do the walk of shame. That's really hard. That's a very tough experience to have to go through and to claw her way through. But she does it. And she does what's necessary in order to survive and to keep her throne. So she's very much a fighter and a survivor. So anything you throw at her, she will make it through and continue her path down to getting what she wants and the power. And however it takes for her to keep it, she's gonna do it. It doesn't matter how dark, gritty it needs to be. She will do it and rise back up to the top, even if it brings her down as low as possible. So she's definitely got that master manipulator role, and she's definitely a survivor in this book, or in this series. And it shows because she makes it through to the end. I mean, with a show that has so many characters that just get killed and tossed out, and so many characters that have problems and stumble and lose their way and, have to try and find their way back to the path. She is somebody who instantly finds her path back up. She immediately claws through everything. She doesn't even take a breath. And she survives all the way until the last moment. So definitely shows that she's a survivor. And in order to survive, she does do a lot of manipulation, which covers both of her main roles. Unless you can think of something else, I kind of really looked at a bunch of other roles that she could have possibly filled, but I felt like these two were the ones that fit her the best. All right, next let's go ahead and talk about what she brings to the story. So we've got what her role in the story is. But what exactly does she bring to the story for the other characters involved, as well as for us as readers? What does she bring to add substance to the story? We know that she's a manipulator, we know that she's a survivor, and that's how she handles things in this particular story. But what does she bring to the story, and how does she contribute to the story? The first thing is that she is a never failing enemy/obstacle. She makes it all the way through to the end, and by doing so, she is constantly a thorn in people's sides. As a character to other characters, she is an obstacle for those who are after the throne and who believe they should be sitting as the king or queen of the Seven Kingdoms. She is an obstacle to other good people who are just trying to make a living and survive, and she is trying to kill them or trying to give them problems. She is an obstacle or an enemy for many of the characters in this series, and she ends up defeating a lot of people who go against her and see her as an enemy or an obstacle from the goals that they want. But she ends up surviving and constantly being another obstacle or another thing to consider for all of the characters. As a watcher or a reader, she continues to be an obstacle that we see people coming up against. We keep seeing how they're going to manage getting around her, or have to think, oh, what about Cersei? How is she going to handle this? How is this going to affect things? We're constantly wondering if they will ever get past her as an obstacle and take over the throne, or what exactly will happen that will stop them from doing so. But she keeps coming back to being a point of rejection for other people to take over or to have what they want. As far as like with Tyrion, she's a big obstacle for him because she doesn't help him, and he ends up being having problems that are hard to resolve. So just depending on the character and depending on what they want or what they need, she is constantly being an obstacle or an enemy that is against them and stopping them from getting what they want and achieving their goals. So that is one of the main things that she brings to this story, and how we are affected by her as we are watching or reading this story. We are constantly having to deal with what Cersei Lannister is going to do next, and how she is going to push back from these characters, especially the characters that we're rooting for, and see if they will make it past her or not. Or to see how she can be brought down. How is she ever going to be taken down from where she's at? At the end, of course, we see her slowly slipping a little bit. We see her judgment failing at times. but she's such a strong enemy that she has a very hard time being brought down. And then second is that she brings consistency. So this again has to do with the fact that she makes it to the end. This show drops characters like flies. I mean, even main characters that you think, oh my gosh, this person can't die yet. Bam, he's out. Done, or she's out. Done, thrown away. Pew, thrown. We're good. So in this way, Cersei is one of those characters, those keystone characters that make it through and bring consistency, constantly bringing somebody that you know and can trust to survive somehow. Because as you're getting people thrown out left and right, it's like, okay, who do I have to hold on to? Who do I have to look forward to seeing more of what they're doing, or, being interested in what they're doing? If you think that they're just going to die the next moment, it's like, okay, why do I need to be invested in this person if they're not going to be here in 2 episodes? And then you start getting invested in somebody and then they're not there anymore because they're being killed off. And you're just like, okay, who do I hold on to now? Who am I supposed to be invested in? Why should I care anymore? And Cersei is one of those people who you can hold on to and continue to care about. She is that keystone of consistency. She's going to keep coming back. She's going to keep fighting. She's going to be there for you. Even if you don't want her to be there, she is going to still be there. And provides a little bit of consistency and a little bit of trust that she's going to make it to the next episode, or that she's going to make it to the next book. So I feel like that's something that you really need in this show, because you have most shows or series or books, whatever, you kind of have a constant idea that, okay, these are the main characters, and though they can die, they're not going to die. They're not going to all die, at least for sure. And they're not going to probably die very quickly. If they do have a couple that have to drop off, it's going to be, towards the end, you're going to have them for a long amount of time. But in this show, where people are dropping like flies and you never know who's going to be next, it's really important that you have at least some characters that you can believe and trust that they're going to make it through, and that they can keep having a storyline. Because this is the opposite of what our normal series are normally like. Normally you have the expectation that this character, who's a main character, is going to make it to the next page or to the next episode. And this one doesn't have that. So instead, you have just these few characters that'll make it to the end and that have always show up, and you can actually hold on to them and you can actually get invested in them. So she is one of those few people and few characters that we actually have to hold on to, and they carry us through when everybody else is falling around them. Next, let's go ahead and talk about her goals. And I kind of listed 3 goals on my notes here, but they all kind of wrap around and be like the same goal in many ways. So we can kind of count them as one kind of meshed together goal, or we could count them as separate. It's up to you guys on how much you think that they are differentiated or not. But I feel like in the end, they're all basically the same thing, especially 2 of them. So the first one is the obvious one, is that she wants to keep her power. That's her main goal in life, is to keep staying on the throne. Nothing else matters but staying on the throne and having that power. So that is a goal that is with her through the entire series, is how does she keep her power? How does she manipulate people so that way she can keep having power and enjoys manipulating people, I'm sure. But really, it's all focused around, how do I keep my throne? And what politics do I have to do, and hoops do I have to jump through in order to keep that? Or how do I just force it? How do I just make it so nobody else can take it from me? So that is her motivation, her goal, main one. It's just, there we go, plain and simple. And not very hard to find that that's her goal. The other one that I feel like really ties into this one, pretty much could be considered the same thing, is that she just always wants to get her way. That's another goal, is how does she get what she wants? Again, that's kind of tied into the power because what she really wants is power, but she wants the power in order to always have her way and what she wants. So it's kind of tied together in many ways. I kind of separated it out, and then I feel like it really is the same thing in many situations. So it's kind of a twofer there. But she really wants that power, and that's important to her. And the reason that that power is important to her is because that gives her the ability to get whatever she wants, however she wants it. So kind of goes hand in hand, but that's what she is working towards, is to get what she wants, and she's doing that by keeping her power and always focusing on how she can keep that power. And third goal is that she wants to pass her power on to her kids. So her kids means a lot to her, and she wants her power to go 100% from her to her kids, and she's going to do whatever she can to make sure that that happens. There are several times when it has been passed to her, or passed to her kids before they all die. So with Joffrey was running the kingdom for a while, and she was very happy to be doing that and having that. So after her husband dies, Joffrey's taking the crown, and she is making sure that she does everything in order to protect his power. After Joffrey dies, the power is passed to her other son, and I believe his name is Thomas. Please correct me if I'm wrong. But he is running the kingdom, even though that's not really what he wants to be doing, and he doesn't really know what he's doing. And she's doing every single political move that she can to make sure that he stays on top and that he keeps that crown. Of course, she kind of uses her daughter in a little bit of a way to keep power in her family and sends her away, but then she calls her back, and unfortunately she doesn't make it back, so we don't totally know how that power would have been passed down in that situation. But all of her effort, if it's not for keeping her own power, it's to keep the power in her family, so that way her kids can stay in power as they grow older as well. So she's all about keeping the power, however that is needed to be done, however that is for her family. It's either she's going to keep the power or she's going to pass it to her kids and protect her kids' throne. Of course, then when all of them are gone, she's like, okay, I'm going to keep it all for myself now. I'm going to do whatever it takes to stay on top and continue to have this throne. So those three things, like I said, again, they're kind of pretty much all tied together into one main goal, and that's all about just power. But you could say that they are a little bit different for her kids, at least to be passing that on to her kids. Did you see any other goals for her? I felt like those were pretty much all she really cared about through all of the seasons, but maybe you have picked up on a little bit of nuance of a goal that I have not. So please let me know if you have any other thoughts or feelings about that. Now, last but not least, let's go ahead and talk about her relationships and how that affects her and her character. The first one that's very important is Jaime Lannister. He is her twin brother, and he is very, very devoted to her. They also have a romantic connection, which is, normal and all that. In fact, he is the father to all three of her children. And he's important because, one, he is the reason that she has kids. So she really loves her kids and they're really important to her. So that's important reason. It's important because they have this romantic connection, this romantic relationship. It causes a lot of interesting things to happen, like when they're protecting that particular part of their relationship and they push Bran out a window, as well as how Jaime treats her and what he does for her. And this is the important part of the relationship on Cersei's side, is that I feel like in many ways that she can have a lot of her success, not just because of herself. Obviously, she's very cunning, she's very manipulative, she knows how to get what she wants. But a lot of the reason that she actually can follow through with these things is because she has Jaime there to help her. He is so devoted to her, he very much loves her, and he's willing to do whatever it takes, no matter how horrible it is, especially at the beginning, in order to make it so that way she can have what she wants and she can get what she wants. So no matter how horrible it is, no matter how much trouble he'll get in for it, no matter any of the things, he will go ahead and do it for her. Even though at the end he's slowly moving away from her and she feels like she doesn't care, like whatever. He is so devoted to her that he even comes back all the way at the end in order to die with her, which, is another conversation as far as Jaime is concerned. And that's very sad that he came back, in my opinion. But in terms of for Cersei, is that this shows how much she gets from Jaime. She gets all the important kids that she has. She gets a lot of things done by him. She manipulates him into being able to get him to do these things. So he is a big accomplice in her success and is one of the few people that truly stands by her out of love and not out of fear, not out of manipulation. Well, okay, that's not totally true. Manipulation is a big part of their relationship, but he is there despite the manipulation, and even though she manipulates him, and he would be there even if she didn't manipulate him. But so he's there very, very for almost the whole entire show. He's pretty much her solid rock, that he's gonna stand beside her and always support her. So she has a lot because of Jaime. He's given her a lot of what she has, and that is why it's important, is that she always had him to lean on and to go back to. And even when, he did dalliances or did something that she didn't approve of, she always reeled him back in and was able to make him that rock that she needed. So really, really important. The main person that she could trust was Jaime. And second was the relationship that's most important to her are her kids. And I kind of grouped them together as one little topic here, because they are all meaning the same thing for her, is that, before they died, they were all her world. So all three of them were her world. Like, she would do absolutely anything for them. And she did some pretty terrible things for them, including let Joffrey be a horrible person. Like, he literally was a psychopath. And she encouraged it, and she loved that about him, and she wanted him to have the throne and was more than happy to let him just destroy everything on top of that throne. So that's the only thing that she is protective of, is her kids. And that is one of the things that changes her motivations and changes how she does things, is her kids. So they are important to her personality and to her person, just because of how much she does for them, about how much that changes her motivations and changes what she does and how things go, is because her kids are involved. And once all three of them are out of the picture, she kind of degrades a bit in that after that time. Like, after her second son goes and then her daughter is killed, she kind of, I don't want to say like she goes kind of insane, because, she's always been a little bit insane, but she really has nothing to lose anymore. She's lost it all. Especially because Jaime is also not really tied to her as strongly as he was before. So after that, the post-kids portion of the story is that she's really just kind of gone power hungry and power insane, is just gonna push and push and push to keep her power, and her decision making might not always be quite as strong as it was before. So her kids were a big influence to her, a big motivator, and a big grounding presence for her. It's very, very hard when she loses even one of them, and it makes her go a little bit more crazy and a little bit more extreme, and then again she loses another one, and then it's continual, and all she then focuses on is either revenge or keeping her power, or what she's going to do next in order to get what she wants. So her kids are really important to her, important to her grounding as a character, and that loss that she suffered really just drove her to be who she was going to be at the end. So Please let me know if you had any more thoughts on any other relationships that were important or anything else. I would love to hear about it. And again, if you have any comments that are related to the books instead of the TV series or any differences that you see, please let me know. I would love to hear about them and have that discussion with you. That is it for this character analysis. Before we go ahead and wrap up, let's go ahead over our trivia question this week. So this week's trivia question was based on the Mercy Thompson series that we did do several classes on, the first 3 books. And it was talking about Stefan's van and what Stefan's van was meant to look like. And it was the Scooby-Doo Mystery Machine. Unfortunately, it must have been a little bit harder question for you guys because a lot of people didn't get it correct. In fact, I had no correct answers this week. I do appreciate everyone who submitted answers and gave it their best shot. If you'd like to join in on the trivia question, we are more than welcome to have you. I hope to see your answers and your best guesses. It's going to be over on the blog of fantasyfictionfanatics.net. If you're on the desktop version, it will be on that right-hand side. You'll just have to scroll down just a little bit in order to find it. If you are on mobile, you'll have to scroll almost all the way down to the bottom, but then you will see it and be able to answer the question. So hopefully we'll get to hear your answers and I'll be able to let you know if you got it right or not the following week. Also, while you're over there, if you want more content from me, you can check out the content on the blog. I've got lots of things going on over there, including stuff on writing, book reviews, book recommendations, topics on different fantasy or book-related things, fantasy terminology, all that kind of stuff. So if you are looking for that, I have that content over there, and I would love to hear if there's anything that you would like to see on there from me. All right. If you'd like to get a hold of me, you can do so in the comments down below. If that's not the best place for you, you're also welcome to check out my Facebook, which is /fantasyfiction1. You're also welcome to check out my Twitter, which is @fantasyfiction1. I also have a Discord, so if you would like to talk to your fellow fantasy fanatics, we have several people already over on the Discord chatting and talking about all different things, fantasy and non-fantasy, and just having a great time getting to know each other and discussing some fun stories and books and other things that we have in common. You are also welcome to direct message me on there if you need to get a hold of me, and that is the best place for you. Your link to join the server will be down below, and I hope that you give us a chance to connect with you and see what you like in fantasy and other things as well. We'd love to have you and chat with you. And I guess that is it from me today. I will see you guys in the next class, and I'll see you then. Bye.